Question number 12 is, who in your eyes is the greatest wrestling promoter? Well, I have already answered this question previously. I'm going to say Paul Heyman is the greatest promoter. Like I said, he was able to take this little indie cow and pony show with wrestlers that nobody wanted and make it worthwhile television to watch. And like I said, I'm judging from what I've seen of promoters. Now, Jim Cornette may be a better promoter, but I haven't really seen a lot of the stuff that he's done, so I can't really make that decision. Question number 13 is, who was the best when it came to promos? I've got to say my favorite promo person has always been, and still is, although he's losing a little bit of luster, is Mick Foley. I love just about everything he's done. His current role in TNA is a little sketchy. I don't really know if I like it or not. But the stuff he did in ECW was pure gold. I think his words alone helped put that place on the map. I really liked his WWF and WWE stuff, but most of that stuff I had seen after the fact. I hadn't seen it while it was going on, so it didn't make as much of an impact on me, but it was still good. Question number 14, who was the worst when it came to promos? Well, obviously this is The Rock. No, I'm kidding. It wasn't The Rock. One could argue that it was the Ultimate Warrior, but his stuff was so nonsensical that it was more funny than it was horrible. You know, just, you didn't know half of the stuff that he was talking about. So it was definitely high on the comedic factor. I don't know if that was on purpose. I doubt it, but, worst promos. I'm not really going to say they're the worst, but I'm really not a fan of either Triple H's or Randy Orton's promos. They're both very long-winded people, and they start talking about nothing, and before you know it, 10 minutes has passed by, and they haven't accomplished anything. So, yeah, when they get on the mic, I either mute it, or I change the channel, or I stick my fingers in my ear and go, la 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 la. No, I don't do that, but, you know, it makes me want to do that. Question number 15 is, who was the best big man in the wrestling business? I guess the obvious answer is Andre the Giant. I haven't seen a lot of his matches, to be honest, so I can't really say, but he seems to be pretty beloved, and I loved him in The Princess Bride. So, but I will say that Vader is a big man who really never got his due in the wrestling business. I think he was more popular over in Japan, which is a shame, because he was a really good wrestler. I've seen some matches of his that have really impressed me, and it makes me wonder why he wasn't a bigger star than what he was. Question number 16 is, who was the best cruiserweight in wrestling? Now, I could piss you all off and say Hornswoggle, but what kind of person would I be? That's just cruel. I haven't seen any of the WCW matches where the title was contested, so I can't really say there. I can only state from where I've seen it in the WWE. I'd say Gregory Helms was my favorite cruiserweight title holder. He had it, I think, for the longest time, from January of 2006 until just over a year later in February of 2007. And correct me if I'm wrong, he might not be the longest reigning, but I'm pretty sure he is. It's a shame that they didn't do much during the later life of the belt. And it's a shame that it didn't go out with the grace and style that it probably deserved. Question number 17 is, who is the greatest heavyweight champion of all time? I'm going to say Ric Flair again. You know, he had the title when it mattered the most, and he made the title matter the most. So that's who I'm going with. Number 18, out of all of the veterans in wrestling right now, who should just go home? Hold on while I bust out my long laundry list of wrestlers who should just go home. At the top of the list is Mick Foley. He can stay in TNA if he wants, but he should not be wrestling. I love him to death, but he should not be wrestling. And he shouldn't have the title on top of that. And I'll tell you right now, Ric Flair, I love you to death as well, but if you lace those boots up, I'm going to be severely disappointed. Those are the two people that are at the top of my list. Kurt Angle is number 3. If he wants to wrestle, that's fine, but right now he's really not getting anybody over in TNA except himself. And if he thinks he has a career in MMA, he's the biggest fool of all. He's got so many injuries. All it takes is one match, and, he could be out of wrestling forever. That's just stupid. My last one, because I could probably go on forever, is going to be Sting. Sting's another guy that came into TNA that I was hoping he would put over the young talent and elevate them to make them main eventers, and he really hasn't done what I thought he'd set out to do. It's just been really disappointing. So if TNA isn't going to utilize him the way they should, he should just go home. Question number 19. If WWE could bring back any pay-per-view from any wrestling company, what would it be? Well, honestly, WWE has far too many pay-per-views right now as it is. I can't understand how they're making money out of this. Are people actually buying 12, maybe 13 pay-per-views a year? Do people really have that much money to burn? I don't think they do, and I don't know how WWE could justify having so many pay-per-views in a year. And same goes for TNA. At least they just have 12 to my knowledge, but if I have to choose one pay-per-view, I would probably say War Games. I haven't seen any of them, so I don't know how good or how bad they are, but I have it on good authority that they were really good for what they were, and it would be interesting to see the WWE do something similar. Question number 20 is, what are some of your favorite matches of all time? The match at WrestleMania 20, Benoit versus Triple H versus Shawn Michaels, stands out as one of my favorite. Definitely. I'll also say that I love the concept of a Royal Rumble. Not all of the Royal Rumbles have been as good as they should have, though, but I still like the concept. I'll also say that Bret Hart versus Shawn Michaels in a 60-minute Iron Man match at WrestleMania 12 stands out as a really good match. I saw that. I didn't see it live, obviously. I saw it in a replay, but I loved it. I thought it was a very good match. There's just a lot of matches out there that have really impressed, and none of them are coming to mind, unfortunately, but there is good stuff out there if you look for it. It does exist. So these are my 20 answers to 20 questions. I hope you enjoyed them. And be on the lookout for another video of mine. I should have it hopefully up this weekend sometime, so keep your eyes peeled. Well, I'll tell you, Mean Gene, if all the Bastamaniacs in the front row, and in the second row, and far in the back row, knows what's good for them, they'll know to listen to the bastard, and they'll know, brother, that he means what he says. What you gonna do when the bastard rolls on you?